Hi, fifth grade. I just recorded myself doing a lesson on ledger lines for you guys. This is what we started learning right before we went on the break. And before you watch the video, I just wanted to say I hope that you guys are doing well. It's been a really long time since we've seen you at school. And I know this is kind of a weird time, but I'm really excited to be able to give you some music classes from my house. And well, you guys are at your house. This is my guest room over here, where usually if I have people visit, they come hang out there. But this is kind of where I've made my little office. And that's where I've been filming some classes for my younger students. And sometimes my cats show up and my dog, but they're not here right now, unfortunately. And I am wearing pajamas. I hope that you are wearing pajamas too, but you're still getting your work done and taking care of yourselves and your family. Again, this is a really weird time, and we're kind of in between a lot of things. And I think it's really important that you keep it up, keep working, and keep reading and taking care of your families and doing good work out in the world, okay? Because we're counting on young people like you guys. If you have any questions about your assignment, or if you just want to say hi, I'm always around on Edmodo. I have the app on my phone and on my computer, so I always respond no matter what. And you can also email me. I will also put my Google Voice phone number up on my page too. So if you want to bother me or text me that way, that's fine too. Okay? All right. Enjoy the video. Bye. So this should be a little bit of a review for you guys. We did take a test on this a couple of weeks ago. It feels like 1,000 years ago though, so we will review the information a little bit. In blue, I have written the space notes, and in orange, I did my line notes. And to review what those mean, the space notes are the ones that are, they exist above or below a line, so in the space between the lines. And the line notes look like they're getting stabbed by the line itself. So the line notes are always going to be like right in between those spaces and on the line itself. And my space notes are in blue, and you can tell that the space notes spell face, F-A-C-E, and that's why those are the easy ones to memorize, because it actually spells something. And I did an example here of a couple of different ones. So we see that this one is on the 1, 2, 3 third space, and I could follow across, and that is C, because C is the third letter of the word space, right? And so that's how you do all of these. And if you need to pause this or remind yourself how this works, if you need to email me for another explanation, you can, and that's why we took a video. Move this up a little bit. In orange, I did my line notes, which is E, G, B, D, F. And these don't spell anything, which is why we have to think of a way to memorize them. Like every good boy does fine, or elephants go bring down food, or Esmeralda, or Emmanuel. I remember all the different names that we had on here. So this is up to you guys how to remember that. But remember E, G, B, D, F, okay? And those are on the lines. 5 lines, 4 spaces, but 5 lines. And again, I did an example of this over here. Okay, so you should be able to understand this. This is all a review. Okay, and then I did another example down here where I put both of them together. The space notes are still in blue, line notes are still in orange, but you can see how they kind of interlock, and they give us the scale on the staff, right? And I also wrote down here, this is a reminder that our ABCs in music only goes up to the letter G before it starts over at A, remember? So the ABCs don't go all the way to Z, they go to G and then they start over. Now as we're looking at this scale over here, you can tell that the note before G, which is a line note, is F, which is a space note. And no matter where you are in the music, no matter what, all the music is in a pattern, and it goes line, space, line, space, line, space, line, space, line, space, forever, okay? So if I say what note is before A, which is a space note, you know that that next, or the note before A is going to be a line note, and the note before A is G, because it will have started over, right? So if I say what note is 2 notes above B, 2 notes above B, so here's B, which is a line note. one note above B is a C, a space note. Two notes above B is D, another line note. Okay, so this is your little review. Now I'm going to pull up a blank sheet of paper. So after the review, you can jump back into learning about ledger lines. And ledger lines are a way for us to write music that exists above or below the musical staff. Okay, so we're going to start with our line notes first, because these are really easy to see. And the easiest ledger line to learn is a note called middle C. And middle C is a special note because it's right in the middle of the piano. And if you guys play piano, you definitely know where that note is. And if you've never played piano before, then hopefully when you play someday, you'll be able to find this note really easily. So middle C gets its own line like that, and the note sits right inside of it like that. So it's a line note, which means it's getting stabbed, right? And it gets its own little line. Okay, then we can fill in the rest of the notes. And there we go. All right, so if we wanted to name our regular line notes, those are the easy ones. Those we know, E, G, B, D, and F. This one is named C. That's middle C, right? So now we have a little extra note. Usually we only see from here to here, but we've just added an extra note. So that's kind of cool. We're expanding our map, okay? Now, there is got to be a note in between C and E, right? So if we're thinking about our musical ABCs, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. All right, so what is the note that is between C and E? The note that's in between is D. Exactly right. And that D is the one that lives on the space between those two notes. Okay? All right, so now let's go ahead and fill in the rest of these little spaces here, just while we're at it, okay? So what's the note that is in between E and G? We know it's a space note. Between E and G is F. All right. Between G and B is, what's the letter before B? A. And that's a space note too. Between B and D is a space note named C. And between D and F is a space note named E. Okay, good. So we have just put in all of our notes, both space notes and line notes, from bottom middle C to the top. Okay? So if I wanted to draw another ledger line or another note above F, I could keep going because those notes are above the staff. Those still get the same pattern, the same names as the rest of it. So if the last note that we definitely knew was F, right, that top line F, what is one letter above F? One note higher than F would be G, right? So here's G. What is one note higher than G? It starts over at A. All right, so this might look like a lot of work, but it's easier than you think. So I'm going to scooch down here where I have a little bit more space, and I'll give you an example. So here, a couple examples here. All right, so what note is this? This note exists above the musical staff, right? And I'm not going to bother writing in the rest of my notes because that's how it starts to look like this and kind of messy. So this note exists above the musical staff. So ask yourself, what is the top line that we definitely know? The top line within the staff is F, right? So we know that this next note is going to be 2 above F because there is one space note above it. So right here is A because the space above the last line is G. Okay, so now for this one, we know that the space on the fourth, or the note on the fourth space is E. That's the fourth letter of the word face. So what are two notes, two letters past E? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. E, F, G. So we know that this is note G. We know that the bottom line right here, that is your E, because every good boy does fine. So what is one note before E? D, exactly. And we know that this is middle C. Okay? We can keep going even higher. So here's our A. We can make it B, C. Notice that I made 2 ledger lines for the note C. D, that's sitting above the 2 notes. You can really go forever. Hopefully you won't have to read that high, because at that point it gets a little bit confusing to see all those little lines, right? But that's the same thing. So down here we can do the same thing. Below, that is your middle C. And notice that middle C and this guy above, they look super similar, don't they? They look pretty much the same. The difference between this one is that it's below, so we know that it's middle C, and this one is A. And that's your high A. They look really similar, so don't get confused between them. Middle C is the one below the staff, and A is the one above the staff. All right, so if we wanted to go lower than middle C, we could go down. So C, what is one note before C? Lower than C is B. What are 2 notes lower? Oops. A, right? G. You could keep going, right, until you have a really, really low song. Okay, so these are your ledger lines. It might look confusing at first, but we're going to have a lot of practice at it. I'm going to post a couple of online games to help you learn those ledger lines. For your, I guess, your assignment for the week, I would love everybody to show me their ledger line practice. I want everybody to write me out a scale. So that means your C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, all the way up. And I want you to start at middle C. So you're starting at middle C. And you're ending at the top line A. Okay? That's number 1. Number 2 for your assignment is that you practice your low ledger lines. Oops, keep forgetting to move my paper down. I want you to practice your low ledger lines and your high ledger lines like this. All right. So please send me any of your questions. You can send me a message on Edmodo. You can send me an email through my St. Rose email. I'll have all of my contact info up on my Edmodo page. And even if it's just to say hey, because I haven't seen you guys in a long time. So, okay, that's all your work for the week. And I hope that you guys are doing well. Take care of yourselves and good luck. Bye.